We are back with another discussion video on the subject Local and Regional Governance. We are now on topic 4 of Lesson 2, which is about the fundamental principles of local fiscal administration. Sit back, relax as we go through the topic. Here is our discussion outline. We will tackle the fundamental principles of Republic Act 7160, and then the finance works at LGUs, the provincial tasks and functions, the 5 distinct classes of potential LGU revenue sources, revenue planning, planning and budgeting linkage, local government budgeting, budgetary limitations, and LGU budget cycle. Here are some of the fundamental principles of RA 7160. No money can be paid out of the local treasury without an appropriations ordinance or law. Local government funds and monies shall be spent solely for public purposes. Local revenue is generated only from sources expressly authorized by law or ordinance, and collection thereof shall be at all times be acknowledged properly. Local governments shall formulate sound financial plans, and local budgets shall be based on functions, activities, and projects in terms of expected results. Local budget plans and goals shall, as far as practicable, be harmonized with national development plans, goals, and strategies in order to optimize the utilization of resources. And the local government unit shall endeavor to have a balanced budget in each fiscal year of operation. Here are the finance works at the LGUs. We have the local chief executive, the treasurer, the assessor, budget officer, accountant, planning and development coordinator, development councils, sanggunian, finance committee, general services, and the bids and awards committee. We now turn to the provincial tasks and functions. First off is the governor. The governor implements policies, rules and regulations, guidelines, issuances, and programs of the province he or she is leading. And then the treasurer. The treasurer takes custody and exercises proper management of the provincial government funds and exercises technical supervision over all treasury office of the component municipalities and some of its functions. And then the assessor. The assessor ensures that all laws and policies governing the appraisal and assessment of real properties for taxation purposes are properly executed, and initiates reviews and recommends changes in policies and objectives are part of its functions. We move forward with the budget officer. The budget officer reviews and consolidates all budget proposals of the different municipalities, departments, and offices of the provincial government. And then the accountant. The accountant takes care of the accounting problems in cash liquidation, remittances, reimbursements, payments of salaries, and others, and internal audit services of the local government unit. And then the planning and development coordinator. The PDC conducts continuing studies, researches, and training programs necessary to evolve plans and programs for implementation. The local development councils. The LDC is the planning body of the LGU, which assists the sanggunian in setting the direction for economic and social development efforts within its territorial jurisdiction. And then the sanggunian. The sanggunian accredit the NGOs for membership in the LDC, review and analyze development plans, approve and adopt the development plan, adopt planning policies, allocate funds to finance the development plan, and monitor implementation of the plan. And then the local finance committee. It is composed of one local planning and development officer, the local budget officer, And then last, the local treasurer. The LFC is tasked to recommend how the funds of LGU is to be allocated. The General Services. The General Services takes charge of the general services and procurement of supplies and materials for the use of the province in the discharge of services. And lastly, the Bids and Awards Committee. It is tasked to recommend procurement procedure method, create a technical working group, conduct bidding, and others. We are now on the 5 distinct classes of potential LGU revenue sources. First is the land-based tools, and here are some of the taxes. The basic real property tax, the special education fund or the real property tax, the land transfer tax, and the public land use tax. Next is the community activity-based tools. Here are some of the taxes. The business tax, the community tax, the tax on business of printing and publication, and the service fees and charges. And then the infrastructure-based tools. We have the special levy, toll fees or charges, public utility charges, among others. Next is the debt-based tools. Under this, we have debt financing and financial investment. And lastly, the revenue sharing tools. This includes the share in mining, fishery, and forestry taxes, share in the gross sales or taxes of government-owned and controlled corporations, and congressional funds. We are now in revenue planning. First is the traditional method. It estimates income on the basis of past collections, newly enacted tax ordinances, amendments to existing tax or revenue ordinances, and program of tax collection campaign. Next is the revenue forecasting. It estimates income based on the average growth rate of the actual income for the last 5 years. And then we have the revenue collection. It is done mainly by the Treasurer's Office. All taxes, fees, and charges shall be paid within the first 20 days of January and each of the subsequent quarter. We are now in the planning and budgeting linkage. First is the vertically integrated planning. It provides local governments with the connection to the broader and longer-term framework of development. The other one is the local development planning. It is the basis for budget proposals and reference in preparing work and financial plans. It is also the basis of recommendation of spending for economic, social, and general services. The local government budgeting. Setting a local government budget involves 3 key decisions. We have allocation, distribution, stabilization, or growth. In terms of the allocation decision, it is based in 3 criteria. We have economic efficiency, technical efficiency, and net social benefits or costs. It is important to highlight that there are budgetary limitations of LGUs. So 45 to 55% limitation on personal services. No salary rate higher than maximum fixed for position. Occupied plantilla positions must be covered by adequate appropriations. And no reclassification of positions except when position is vacant. We also have creation of new positions and salary increases or adjustments shall not be retroactive. And LCE's discretionary fund shall be limited to 2% of real property tax in preceding calendar year. We are now on the last part of our discussion, which is about the Philippine budget cycle. We will tackle each major phase of the cycle. First is the budget preparation. It involves the following: the issuance of budget call, the conduct of budget forum, the preparation and submission of budget proposals, budget hearing and evaluation of budget proposal, the preparation of Local Expenditure Program or the LEP, the preparation of budget message, and lastly, the submission of executive budget to the Sanggunian. We now turn to the budget authorization. Under this, we have the following process: the presentation of the executive budget, the conduct of a preliminary review and evaluation of the executive budget, and the deliberation of the budget, the authorization of the annual budget, and it forwards the appropriation to the LCE, posts the appropriation ordinance, and forwards copies thereof to the reviewing authority. Next is the budget review. Under this, we have the submission of the appropriation ordinance, checking the appropriation ordinance and budgetary requirements, issuance of the review action, advises the Sanggunian on the budget review, and acts on the budget review. After those steps, it is now time for the execution of the budget. Under this, we have the following process: records the approved budget in the registries, release the allotment or the LBM or ARO, prepares the cash programs and financial or fiscal performance targets, obligate and disburse funds for the implementation of programs, projects, and activities, adjust cash programs, financial and physical performance targets if there are shortages or overages, and provide corrective actions for negative deviations. So that's the end of our discussion. We now turn to Activity 1. You are to make a storyboard on the concept of the budget cycle. Good luck! So there you have it. Should you have any questions or comments, you can contact me through the following outlets. I hope that you have learned a lot as we went through the topic. See you in our future discussion video. God bless and thank you for listening.